I want to introduce expert panelists, and this is Ricardo Borges de Castro, a former advisor on strategic foresight to the European Political Strategy Centre in the European Commission. His expertise on global trends and strategic foresight. Anticipatory democracy was the keyword that stood out for me there. EPS as project leader for the European Strategy and Policy Analysis System, ESPAS, and a member of cabinet to Jose Manuel Barroso as President of the European Commission, as well as spokesperson for Europe and the world at the Commission's Spokesperson's Planning and Coordination Unit. A lot of Commission and strategic foresight backgrounds available and insights coming from Ricardo. So without any further ado, Ricardo, over to you for your setting the scene on strategic foresight.
Thank you very much, Ray. Hello, everyone. I'm speaking from Brussels. I think I want to actually take already some of the words and expressions that my predecessors used to make my introduction, because they are in line with what I thought about saying a little bit on the role of foresight in a situation like this. And so far, we have been at the end of the alphabet. We've been on resilience, recovery, volatility, response, uncertainty, and I want to move a little bit to the start of the alphabet, to anticipation. And I think when we start looking at this crisis, of course, we are in this situation because some of the systems that we normally have to prevent this from happening maybe have failed. And I would say that very clearly, I don't think that this has been a failure of foresight per se, has been rather more a failure, I think, initially of transparency, also of preparedness, but also of competence. Because, when you look at, let's say, at the Global Health Security Index, you see that there are countries that have a very high rating in terms of preparedness, and the competence that they've had in dealing with this situation has not been, it has not been, at least, it does not correspond to the scores that these countries have. Of course, the pandemic has affected countries differently because of demographic compositions, the moment when decisions to lockdown were made, previous experience on dealing with these issues. So there are many factors that play into this, and we should not undermine. But foresight, in my view, is very much a call to action and should lead to preparedness. And so clearly there is, if we can already start taking some of the lessons from this situation, if we want to actually make sure that we are able to be better at anticipating, we need to be better also at making the link between foresight and foresight reports. It was known that a pandemic would happen. Many foresight reports have pointed to this. We just didn't know when they would happen. And so what it means is that the need to be able to be better at translating insights from foresight work to policy making, I think we need to do this better. But as I was saying, foresight is very much about building up, is about action, is about shaping the future. And my predecessors also mentioned already several of the tools that we will need to use to get out of the current situation. And of course, as Lorenzo was saying, there's deep uncertainty, and some of the uncertainty that we are living now is only being accelerated by the crisis because it was already coming from before. So what foresight can also help us do at this stage, I think if anyone that works in the field will come and tell you, this is how the future is going to look like, don't believe them. Her or him or her are lying. No one actually knows. What we can do and how we can help organizations, governments, and all of us are trying to think what is the best way forward is basically to try to start making sense of the situation, looking at trying to interpret certain weak signals that might have an impact in shaping these uncertainties and trying to understand what these uncertainties might be. I wanted to focus now on a very concrete point because I think it's very relevant that normally I don't see so much discussed in this fora. And when we are talking about also foresight and some of the commodities are very important. And I think this crisis is very different from previous crises because it's about life and death. So people are fearful. And I think, we can pour tons of money into the economy. We can do all of these things, but if we don't have the people coming along, if people don't trust, the leadership, and if people don't trust the competence and the ability of states and organizations to actually deliver a future that necessarily should be better, should go in the direction that both Luis, Pim, Sylvia have pointed out, I think we will not be able to master this, and we'll add uncertainty to this because trust is very much also about uncertainty. and fear is also about uncertainty. So we need to help also citizens and, you know, all of us, because I mean, maybe all of us are a little bit fearful about this. So I think this element, you know, mastering the issue of trust and fear is going to be key to exit this crisis. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ricardo.